Laat ek nou YouTube toe gaan. Okay, morning everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning for this live stream with Reyno de Beer, President of the Liberty Fighters Network. And today is the 1st of November, and it's a public holiday for a reason. The country is going to the local government elections. And I just want to make sure that you can all hear us. Mohegan Kolisang, welcome. Everyone, I want to welcome the President of the Liberty Fighters Network, Reyno de Beer. Reyno has fought for us in court and has had a huge impact on the lockdowns being released very quickly after each of these court cases were lodged and appeals were lodged. The government were literally kept busy trying to take our freedoms away, and the Liberty Fighters Network, the name says it all, has been fighting for us in the trenches to ensure that we are at lower lockdown levels and that they don't go back to the draconian levels of the past. Because the court case, Reyno, that you won in the Pretoria High Court, I believe, with Judge Norman Davis, in that case, the original judgment where he said that they cannot appeal freedom of movement, freedom of association, and all of those things, that still stands as far as I understand.
Yeah, thank you very much, Des. Really appreciate your interest in our association as well. We've been going through some very adventurous times and hard times the past couple of months. And yes, what you haven't said now was that we have managed to refer this whole lockdown COVID-19 issue to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, and it's currently in their hands. It's the first of its kind case in the world which have managed to get to an international forum. I would like to mention there especially the Reyno Fulmich case that everyone was so supportive of, which never started any court case up till date. Even that one has never or cannot reach an international forum before they have exhausted all the local remedies first. So that case hasn't started yet. And we are already on an international forum base. So people who would like to participate in releasing our freedom can surely tap into that case, and we can, as people, as liberators, continue further with that case. But as you rightfully said, today is a special day. It's the local elections, and this morning I woke feeling as if I'm going to a funeral, literally. So because it feels so, it's supposed to be a day that we celebrate our freedoms and democracy, and I can't feel that at all. We are going to the voting stations today as people who are similar, like in 1994, we were going to the voting stations to get our freedom for many of our people in the country, but in the same sense, that was at least engulfed in happiness.
Yeah.
But this today, it's really well, in Afrikaans I would say that I really feel morbid.
Morbid.
I don't I don't use the English word for morbid a lot, but that is how I feel. Yes, I don't know how you interpret it, but I believe that it would be in a similar way.
The one thing that I think a lot of people that I know and people that's in contact with me feel at this stage is absolute excitement because something has changed in a group of people that I suppose give people hope. People, especially people that are talking about system change, changing the political system in the country, because during these lockdowns, I think it's proven itself over and over that what we have now does not cater for our freedom at all. Your thoughts on that? I mean, the current system that we have and what it does to freedom, especially with regards to the legal system, where you've been
Yes.
battling it out.
No, you're 100% right in that perspective. But my funeral-like feeling today is mostly bound on the fact that we know that the political parties which will be able to give us our freedoms or new parties, and they have not been given the enough time and opportunity to actually canvass new voters to support them, because those who have
That's an
taken our
important point.
freedoms.
I
Yeah.
actually want you to speak about that, Reyno, with regards to if you actually look at any democracy, there's processes that you're supposed to be able to follow in a democracy for elections to make it free and fair. So just your take on that. You were busy touching on that now, and I would like your take on the current situation we find ourselves in.
Oh, definitely, because those who have taken our freedom away from us, and it's not only the ANC, it's the entire 14 political parties which are in parliament today. All of them. Not we cannot only blame the ANC. It's all of them, because all of them, without having any information, have agreed to the declaration of a national state of disaster on the 15th of March last year. All of them. And it only later on came forward in our own court case that none of them had the information. Up till date, even the government itself, the cabinet, is unable to produce any backing whatsoever for declaring a national state of disaster. What they are saying to us is that they are riding on the wave of the measures that were taken and the negativity that it brought along. So the disaster itself was the declaration of a national state of disaster. Period. No one can convince me otherwise, because we've been through this whole process. We've asked them on several occasions, where's the proof, and they were all unable to provide it to us. But this election should not be everything about COVID-19 and the lockdown. We need to go and look in our governments, local governments, whether they are working. What do you as an individual want from your local government, and in particular, very important, your ward councillor? The local election idea came around to put representatives directly in our communities, in our direct ward areas. Ward areas were usually divided into roughly 10,000 registered voters. But unfortunately, we have seen that are 10,000 people really participating in your own local problems? And the reality is that no, they are not. It's usually a very small group of people, usually aligned to large political parties like the ANC and the DA, who are actually putting their own parties, policies, and practices directly into your community. So, what I am saying today is that people don't go and vote for a political party. Go and vote for someone who is going to make a drastic change in your area. But please, as far as possible, let that people not be any one of the 14 political parties: ANC, DA, Freedom Front, Economic Freedom Fighters, etc., etc. Don't vote for them. Take people from newly established political parties, and who you have seen
as well. Independence,
definitely independence. Independents are independent from any political party, or they are following some sort of positive narrative that they would like to implement directly into your community. So that is very important, that you vote for the person. It's the only currently, notwithstanding that the Constitutional Court now have also declared that national candidates can also be independent, which is a very good thing. The necessary legislation is not enacted; it's not there yet, and we don't even know whether the government is going to enact it.
I doubt it.
That is the reality. They are now grouping all their legal eagles together, and they're trying their best to see how they're going to manipulate this new legislation as well to circumvent the possibility of independence as well. Because they want to they want to grab and keep on holding onto their power. They're not going to release it.
That's right.
They don't want a Mahatma Gandhi to suddenly appear amongst us and be the independent who's going to be the president at the end of the day. If there is such a person, we know what happened to Mahatma Gandhi, and that is possibly a fate for this person as well. Reality must sink in. But coming back to the local elections, people, who have done a lot in your area and have been productive. Give those people, especially if they are independents, give those people the opportunity to represent you as a community. Go and vote for them. Even though your political party or that candidate is of a political party that's not going to win or make a drastic impact on the numbers of the local election who have won. As a matter of fact, it's wrong to go and group all the figures together at the end of when the voting counting has been finalized, because they are trying to tell us who is going to be the next, or who is in control of South Africa. This is local election. It's something totally different than national elections. So go and vote for that individual, from a small party preferably. And people, I'm openly going to say this, and I've done this many a times. If you're going to vote for the DA, you are just as bad as anyone inside the ANC. Don't criticize the ANC if you're going to vote for the DA, because the DA is nothing more than the other side of the ANC, whether we like it or not. They are not Democrats. They are actually evil people. I've seen this so many times that these leaders of the Democratic Alliance in particular, they are sometimes worse than the Ku Klux Klan, or as worse than what the AWB ever could have been. Because with the complaints that we are dealing with, in particular, most of these mandatory vaccination complaints that we are dealing with, most of these organizations and employers who are doing this are clearly DA supporters. And they don't care whether a person is working for 17 years. And I'm talking here about real life scenarios. Whether a person is working 17 years as a loyal employee, if they don't want to get the jab, then they are dismissed without any further ado. Well, this is what the DA is doing.
Well, John Steenhuisen has openly said that he will go into an alliance with the Cyril Ramaphosa faction, which is no difference to the DA. I mean, they're one and the same. And there's a good friend of mine in Wilderness that actually wrote something where he said if he had to choose with a gun to his head between the ANC and the DA, he would vote for the ANC because they're useless at implementing things. The DA is actually quite quick at implementing things, and they will take our freedoms away faster.
And you 100% right again. Well, if there's a choice between the ANC and the DA, I will choose the EFF, because you know that is how bad it is at this stage. That all these so-called liberators, and we call ourselves or our followers liberators, but all these freedom-fighting organizations who's forcing you to vote in line with our historic feelings. We are not in 1994 anymore. We are supposed, after 27 years of so-called democracy, in inverted commas, that we have gone through, we were supposed to be a truly united family of citizens. Yes, I've been saying this many times, that I do feel that we are family on grassroots level, where I walk around, going to the retail stores, etc. I feel a feeling of yes, we are friends. We don't see color anymore. But yes, it's the mainstream media and the government who constantly want us to be divided.
Yeah.
They want us to, if there's, me and my wife have been watching the Henry van Breda case, following it again. It was actually very interesting, and at some stage I will do a video about it, what we believe happened. But when you go to something like that, we've got 18,000 murders in South Africa annually. And one case was identified because of the fact that there was a white guy who blamed a black man to have done it initially. And that went viral, and they used that to say, this is what white people think about the black people and other people in South Africa. They say one person who said this in an isolated case, basically, have said that, you know what, black people are to blame, or they are the murderers. That is the image that the national or the mainstream media wanted to portray to us, to divide us. But in any event, this is what's happening constantly. One case is then suddenly blown out of proportion. And yes, I do believe that South Africa are more united. And I've seen this in many of the new political parties. I don't want to tell people who to vote for, but I'd like to identify a couple of newly formed political parties, which I believe is well founded
Before we
Yes.
get there, Reyno, I want you to tell the people from your perspective what a single person, if you get a single independent candidate into a council with 100 members, tell the people how that one person can make a difference. Because the DA has been telling the whole world in an undemocratic fashion, because they don't believe in democracy, that is clear, that if you just vote for a single person, there won't be any power. What can that single councillor do for their community?
Well, what that one individual can do, that independent, is that they will be in
or
council.
Even a smaller party candidate.
Oh, but they will be the ears and eyes of the people outside. They will be present at the council meetings. They will be able to tell the people what really happened there and how decisions were taken. So they will be the ones who, at the end of the day, say, you know what, this decision came out, but it was actually in a very undemocratic way. Yeah. This is actually what happened, and we've got the proof, because we are councillors, we've got the proof that this has been actually happening or this decision has been taken under these circumstances. And what Liberty Fighters Network will do from our side, those individuals who feel that they are only there in the open wild and no one is protecting them, Liberty Fighters Network will, from our side, back those independents in any legal way that we can, to ensure that more decisions taken by the local governments are taken on review to the High Court. We will help them to do that. We will even empower these individual independent councillors to show them a way how to do it themselves. And they can, just like Liberty Fighters have been doing, going to court with all these cases over the past couple of months and before. We will show them how we managed to do it, and why can't you as an independent do exactly the same for your community? That is the key thing. The more, just like they are using ways in spying. They literally spying. I've seen this a couple of years back, way back in, what was it, 2016 or so, when at the previous local elections, where the first thing that they do when a person have been elected as a ward councillor and or as a representative, a participation quota councillor, they are given cell phones. They are given cell phones. Oh, yes, we want to communicate directly with you. Why would they give cell phones to all of them? Because I can tell you why. I guarantee you that all those cell phones are being monitored in the way that they want the councillors to get monitored. And for any councillor who's coming in who wants to be independent, don't fall for their tricks. Use your own cell phone with your own security on it, because the only reason why they're giving you these cell phones, that they might give you a nice package of 3 minutes, and you can even phone your grandmother with it at the end of the day. It's all a disguise to monitor you. Yes. That is very important. They will go out of their way to find something against these independents that they can use against them. So independents must be people who have high moral and ethical values. They must not be scared of any threats. They must also be people who's not intimidated. Once you are intimidated, independents immediately come open and forward with it, and we as the people will immediately back you. The moment when you tell us that you are being intimidated, either in one way that worst case scenario that they're threatening you with with your life or with your family members, because they are doing it. I've seen this personally in practice happening. But why are they doing that? Why are they threatening you? Because they are scared of you. That is the main thing. They are scared of independence. They are scared that these independents might get so many people backing them that all their plans that they're going to have in council is going to be null and void.
Yeah.
So that is a few things about the local elections, but
But the thing is,
specifically,
a single councillor in council can actually end up doing more work for the community than the rest of the council put together. If that councillor knows
Yes.
how to report things or how to highlight things to you, if that councillor communicates with you, the people that elected them, they'll be worth more than the rest that don't. And the people that
Yes.
sit there on a large party ticket, they get told by their chief whip how to vote. They don't even read through the papers that they are given. And I think it's important that the smaller, the independents or the smaller parties that are going there to change the system, that they highlight that, take advantage of the fact that they are there by the people to expose what's happening, to show how these new bylaws and so on will take more and more of your freedoms away. Like in Cape Town, where they want to give normal law enforcement, the metro law enforcement, the right to enter your house without a warrant and search for anything. It's becoming such a police state, the things that the DA wants to implement in Cape Town. And that is why people need to get rid of them as fast as possible for freedom. And all, like you say, of the parties represented in Parliament stood together in March of last year and declared that we are allowing Cyril Ramaphosa to take your freedom away for 3 weeks. So they can do it again, and that is, to me, is the greater good ideology. But you were talking earlier, you were alluding to new independence movements that have come up that want to change things. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we've been very lucky to have dealt with many incoming political parties who have only registered over the past year or so. And there are a couple of political parties, like, for instance, We the People, that are only going to be in Gauteng at this stage for We the People.
And what are they? Just explain what they are about and what they're trying to do.
Well, We the People are totally against forced vaccinations and anything about the New World Order as we have known it. They believe in that each and every person is in, or each and every culture or tribe is they may govern themselves. They are entitled to it. So all the ideas that the Cape Exit Party, the Cape Independent Party, and those who follow the same secession type of ideas are also what they want. And I need to bring race in this because it's a new movement where which is run by many EFF desertees, defectors. The leader of this political party, I know him as Bakunin Kamatole, He was one of the founding members of the EFF, and he just decided, you know what, this cannot go on like this. We are all people in this country, irrespective of the color of your skin. We should be able to work together as a community and as citizens as a whole. So I would recommend, if possible, that people look onto the ballot papers, go and read about We the People beforehand, and before you go to the voting stations, and see what they stand for. And yes, I would recommend them as one. Obviously, where many months back, when Desmond and I started communicating, I forwarded a manifesto of Liberty Fighters Network that we have compiled way back in 2018 already, long before the lockdown. And strangely enough, when we've actually compared our manifesto with the ideas of the organic humanity movement, it's sort of point-wise almost the same, even though we haven't been in contact at that time. So the principles of OM is also very much aligned to what Liberty Fighters Network as a apolitical organization. We've always said that we will never be a political party. We are there to represent the voiceless against the government.
Whoever you are, those that do not vote, Reyno.
Yes, we are very much from Liberty Fighters Network side. I've said that reckon or regard us as the so-called invalid ballot party. There is no such thing as the invalid ballot party, but for those who invalidate their ballots, and for those who really who are registered and they really don't care anymore what is happening to this country of ours, because they don't see any outcome. Combinedly, those are the 67% majority of our people. And we want to bring politics in a good sense back to everyone. So that politics can become eventually, although it's not considered at all to be a very just system, we want people to realize that we need to change the system from within.
Yes.
We
Why do we have to do that, Reyno? Explain that to people, because I think a lot of people don't understand why it has to be done from within.
Why it has to be done from within is the fact that all these politicians, most of them are highly educated people. Most of them are lawyers. Most of them are medical practitioners.
DA. If you're a lawyer, you make it in the DA.
Oh, definitely, yes. And the fact is that these people are part of from the time when they entered university, they have become part of a cult. It's nothing more than a cult. A fraternity which wants you to go in a certain direction that they want you to go into. So these people are programmed in a certain direction. That is why we need someone within the system to enter the system and break all these perceptions down. And come to a point whereby they can even align with people that's in this narrative to make them believe that, you know what, the reason why you actually became a lawyer in the first instance was because you wanted to protect the human rights of people. And then where are you now today? You are violating, you are part of a fraternity and a movement which is openly violating human rights. Can you continue with that? Don't you want to go back to the days when you had those dreams of when you were still a very moral and ethical person. So you need people to break it down and to prevent it from further um, uh, 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 um, prevent it from being broken down any further. Or so we need the people inside,
And
and
then
we
you can
can
also
only
create
get them.
awareness. You know, if you're in there, you can say, like if you put an independent candidate in or a movement like OM that wants to change the system, they are going to highlight what's happening there to the public because it's hidden at this point in time.
Oh, definitely, and that is the only way. We need to get people, whether we like politics or not.
Mm.
We need those independents and the small political parties to do the work for us inside. There's no other way. The ANC or the DA or the Freedom Front or the EFF, none of them are suddenly going to have a Damascus journey and decide otherwise. And that they need to rather concentrate on the will of the people. It was never about the will of the people. It was only the will of the elite, those who are our enemies on the top level of the pyramid. That is why these elite, that we just simply call them, are openly saying that we don't care who's in control of Parliament. We don't care whether it's the ANC or the DA, because all of them are serving us. And we need the small parties and the independents to break through, come into that hornet's nest, break it open, and reveal to us what is really happening there. Just like Liberty Fighters Network is openly revealing what is happening inside the judiciary.
Yes.
Time and time again, we show the people this is what we're going to and intend doing, and we guarantee you this is what's going to come out of it, and we always 100% correct.
Yeah.
So we show the people what is inside, so that we can know that, you know what, the judiciary has been captured. We want the
That's very
independence
important.
yeah.
That's very important for
And
people to understand that the judiciary has been captured. And I've asked you for a long time to be able to travel around the country like I did and actually go and speak to people about this, because this is one of the reasons why we need independent candidates and smaller movements or parties or civil organizations in politics. And you said the Liberty Fighters Network will help them to expose things, go to court for them. Which means that the Liberty Fighters Network is willing to work with all of these movements, civil organizations, independent candidates, smaller parties that want to change the system, which makes you a part of this fight. So if you want to expose this legal system going around the country, I know I've started a fund to raise funds for you to get a vehicle that you can use to do that. It costs a lot of money to travel around the country like that, and the people funded me to do that, and I would like them to do that for you. So in the description below this video, you can find the banking details for Liberty Fighters Network, and I really want you to go and support that initiative, because in that year and a half that I toured with my family, we managed to speak to thousands of people, and those same people will host Reyno, will organize those meetings, and Reyno will be able to speak to thousands of people, but he's going to need your support. Reyno, I want to ask you what, you have said that you are willing to take up that challenge and actually do that for the people of the country. I know it's difficult, it's not easy, but you're willing to do that.
Oh, definitely. Our idea at this stage is to we've got so plenty of cases where we are physically helping people with legal matters. But my idea from the beginning, when we've started Liberty Fighters Network, was to empower people to help themselves. We don't want to just give them the fish to the fish to feed them for one day. We want to physically learn the people how to fish for themselves. and then to help themselves. So we've got so many projects that we are busy working on, and things that we are positively doing. We've been, for example, we've managed to become a participant at the 69th ordinary session of the African Union Union's Commission for Human and People's Rights, which is going to take place from the 15th of November up till the 5th of December. So while we are participating in those things, we are telling the African Union itself that more things need to be done to empower the people on to go and take the law back to the people. The people own the law and they of a country, and they are not in control over it, because the judicial systems that have been created, and sadly I need to mention it, that have been created by colonialism.
Yeah.
Colonialism has not been bad in all aspects, but in this aspect, it's definitely bad, because they have taken all the fraternities and that's inside the law, inside the legal profession, and they've implemented it everywhere in South Africa, on the African continent. In some countries that were British colonies, they are still using the advocates are still wearing the wig. You know, that white wig, ugly wig.
I believe in decolonization, Reyno. We need to get rid of all this rubbish.
We need to make Africa a place for Africans, and I always say, you know, I'm an Afrikaner, and when you translate it into English, it means African. So I just happen to be white, but my roots are settled and firmly settled in the continent of Africa. I'm just as much an African as anyone other who does not have a pink skin. So in that respect, I would like to go out and show the people, you know what, we are not all bad, us so-called white people. We really want the same things that you want. Let's make our legal system. There's a difference between transformation and reformation. The ANC have been constantly telling us about a transformation, meaning that more women needs to go to the judiciary, more black men, etc., and lesser of white. But
in the same
this
system.
It's not going to work. We need a reformation.
Yes.
The whole system needs to collapse.
Yeah.
The whole system needs to give away and make it a unique system. Maybe South Africans can have a nice jury system like the Americans have. That would be nice. I really would like to support a jury system for South Africa. I would like to support an automatic appeal system for in certain cases where people have been found guilty of a certain crime, and they simply don't have the means or the money to invest in a legal team to appeal the case, which was only before one judge at the end of the day, to appeal it further. Those things I'd like to see, but the current system does not make provision for it.
Now, tying into that, Reyno, you're speaking about the current system, and there is someone that asked you earlier, please discuss the parties or the smaller parties you recommend. But that ties in with movements like that wants to change the entire system, including the judicial system. And will get people like yourself to come up with a completely new system. What do you think about that? I mean, education, legal, electoral, even the governance system actually being changed to something that's not from our colonizers, as you said before.
Well, the good thing is that Liberty Fighters Network is currently speaking to many people, and some of those people who also want reformation are key people within the ANC themselves.
That's awesome.
So there's a lot of factions within. It's not only two factions inside
There's
the
many,
ANC. There are many, and they are very influential people who are really supporting what we are saying when we talk about reforming the judiciary. And when we come to organizations, I don't only want to mention OM and We the People as
are there any other organizations that you have seen that can help to bring this change about, Reyno?
Unfortunately, when it comes to smaller parties, I must be honest that the only two parties that I can really or have really impressed me was the We the People and OM. Because they are very much aligned to what we as an organization also want. There are other parties like the Cape Independent Party, but they are only focusing on one province.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, according to me, that the area that they have chosen is somewhat very opportunistic. Honestly, I don't think that it will ever happen from their perspective. They need to do a lot of work with secession in particular. Just to mention those two in specifically, three independents. Many of the people are independent. They are not aligned to any political party. Look at what they have done for your area.
And you can speak to them at the voting station. So,
yes,
and you should.
Yes.
I told people, ask them questions. What do you stand for, and then make a decision.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, political or candidates and political parties are not allowed to canvass or
but
do.
You can approach them, Reyno. You are allowed to approach them.
But you can, yes, you can approach them from your own perspective and ask them questions. They are supposed to be on the outside, not near, I think, 50 meters or so from the voting station itself. So you can definitely go and talk to them. So in that respect, I don't know. I'm not. If I need to make a prediction of what is going to happen. Unfortunately, because they had the historic luxury of being known by the people.
Well, mainstream media does that in television, right?
Oh, and that is also correct. That we will see an ANC and a DA manipulating and in front of all these elections, of all these local governments. We will see them, but I've got very good advice for them. That you know that you are going to win, but you were you were doing it in a way that, and at a time when you know and are well aware that many people would not have voted for you because of what you have done to the people of South Africa. And if you are going to win, it's not that people agree with what you are saying. The people merely have hope that you're going to change your spots, but as Thabo Mbeki said, that the leopard cannot change himself, even if he changes his spots. So ANC, let your own Thabo Mbeki be your advisor to say that we know that you will never change. We hope that there's going to be a factional or a ripped very soon. I know that there's going to be a massive rip tear inside the ANC very soon. Not only the ANC, but inside the DA as well. So both of these large parties will become small parties, and then they have to compete with the OMs and the We the People and the Cape Independent Movement party.
Those are the only movements at this stage that have actual plans in place to transform things.
Yes.
And I think and change a system. So it's quite compelling at this stage that I think people they know that what we currently have is not going to work. And I openly don't support the Cape Independence Party because of the method and means they want to use to achieve what they are doing. And I believe the rest of the country should be involved in what they are doing. And agree to it to allow something like that. And that's why there's certain people speaking about a federation of states, etc. You know, like the ULA Congress, for instance. But people want change. That movement is swelling across the country that people don't want to sit in this colonialist system anymore. And so the people that just want to continue taking part in the current system, they will fall out of favor very quickly. So I agree with you that the DA and the ANC, the days are numbered. I think they're going to be shocked at the polls to see how many people do decide to support independence, smaller civic movements, and organizations that want to completely transform and change things. I think that's going to come out very strong. And I also believe that movements or organizations that are speaking out for that drastic change and speaking out against our freedoms being taken away. I'm thinking of, for instance, the ACDP, very vocal in their campaign, that they will do well. Maybe not for all the right reasons, and maybe people will be fooled by that because, like you rightfully said, all the parties in Parliament stood behind Sir Ramaphosa and took our freedom away for 3 weeks. And then later only they started moaning and bitching when we got to level 3 and so on, when you were fighting in court for us. And people, I want to remind you that Reyno did not fall for this nonsense. He was fighting for you in court right at the beginning. Reyno, when did you get that first judgment?
Well, it was on the 2nd of June, but the whole process started in May, obviously. So we've been we've started from the 1st of April.
Yeah.
So it was, we were merely a few days, 3 days or so, 4 days in lockdown at that stage, when we started to get very busy assisting people who were unable to pay their rent, and so many of the people were doing business or were self-employed, and they were not allowed to do business as self-employed. They were not allowed to sell in the street food, but around the corner, the Pick n Pay and the Checkers were allowed to do that. So their income have been taken directly from them, and they were unable to pay rentals. And we came on board to assist or try to mediate in the beginning between the landlords and the tenants. And we have found that landlords in general are very not as forth, or not as nice as they appear. Notwithstanding that we were sitting in a massive problem with people who really did not have the money to pay their rent. These landlords just simply demanded that they wanted their money, and they started with mafia tactics. Disconnecting electricity, disconnecting water, throwing out people
illegal
on the street. And it's criminal. It's not only just illegal, it's criminal. But unfortunately, yet again, the police, just like they have been doing a couple of weeks back with the attack on our people in Cape Town, they just simply... Well, you're not even entitled at the police station to go and open a criminal case against a landlord who have been doing it. So we were the vanguard of those who have been suffering. We had to climb in from the beginning, as early as April, to assist the people with the lockdown chaos. In our papers, we have specifically stated it, that the lockdown, we were representing a couple of hundred hairdressers from a specific large national hairdresser company, who just simply, they had the money, they were not affected in any way, but they just simply decided that the 30th of March, no one of their people will receive salaries because they were too scared of what is going to come. So we had to fight all those demons.
But you are still fighting in court today. I don't think a lot of people are aware, and I think we probably should do a weekly live stream, Reyno, just so you can keep the people up to speed with what you are doing, because you do need funding, right? And I would like to end there, because I still need to go out and vote. And there's no secret who I am voting for today. I'll be voting for system change, because I believe that's one thing we need. And OM is represented in 25% of all the wards in the country. So the advice that you've given for people to go and support independence or civil organizations, we the people in the Joburg area, right, Reyno?
Yes.
That people need to consider something that is going to change, and don't vote for any of the parties that took our freedom away already. They've already shown you what they will do with their actions. But Reyno, just to end off, you need funding to do what you are doing, and you are fighting cases all the time. It's not just the things that we've spoken about, and maybe we should speak on a weekly basis, if you would agree, so that the people on this channel can know what you're busy with. Because when we have 35,000 people on a channel, and we just have 1,000 people giving you a 50 Rand each, I mean, it can go a long way towards making this change a reality, because Liberty Fighters Network is a part of that fight for change.
Yes, no, thank you for recognizing that, Des. Really appreciate that. What people don't realize is that you can phone our number or communicate with us at any time. And what we will tell you is that we don't expect anything in return for what we are doing.
Yeah, you don't charge for your services.
When they say, but you need to charge me something, then we just simply say, you know what, we don't even have an idea of how much you need to pay us. But what we are going to do for you, fighting this matter in court, fighting in front of the Equality Court, we've got two cases, open cases currently before the Equality Court for discrimination. One is for a doctor who has been discriminated against by a hospital, where she was told to immediately cease to operate from the practice chambers or the practice rooms because of the fact that she have been discriminated against by having a different idea about COVID than all the other doctors. So that is one case that we are dealing with in the Western Cape High Court, Equality Court. Then there is another one that's in front of the Johannesburg Equality Court, and several, and we've got at least 5 others that we are going to launch soon. for people who have been discriminated against. There's one teacher who lost her job because she totally refused to wear a mask at school, notwithstanding that she had other ways of teaching the children. We've got an IT or engineer who worked for something like 17 years for a international company, who, because of his beliefs about COVID-19, he was also fired after 17 years. So all these cases, we've got currently 42 open cases about mandatory vaccinations that we are dealing with on an active basis. And obviously, most of those people are employees in need. They don't have the way of putting money into our account at this stage, because they either don't have the income anymore, or they simply are they fear that soon they will not have money, so they are not even able to give us 10 rand. So those cases, and then we've got multiple of eviction cases and other social justice cases that we are working on around the clock. We've got now 2 open cases before the African Union, with at least 2 to come as well. So we always there, and we've also got cases in front of the South African Human Rights Commission and the Sheriff's Board, etc., etc. So, but the point is that we have realized that, or we have noted that our donations coming to our way have been depleted, and the main reason for that is the fact that there are so many organizations who claim that they are supportive of giving our freedoms back, and they want to unite the other parties. So you physically have 20 or 30 organizations at present with the idea of uniting all other organizations to do what we are doing, with only 1 or 2 other organizations who are really doing something productive. And now people have forgotten about Liberty Fighters Network. They have forgotten about the other organization who really have been fighting for them. And all the monies are now, with a new hope that a new broom will sweep clean, are now being donated to organizations who really don't have anything. They've done absolutely nothing up till date. Some of these organizations which are prominent, and I'm not here to say that I want to badmouth any organization. Some of these prominent organizations who say that they are fighting for vaccinations and mandatory vaccinations, at the end of the day, they are referring their people to us. And we must help them. That is what they are doing productive. They are referring those people to us. And we are the ones who are helping them.
So I want people to understand that there are people getting donations for work that they are doing, and all they are doing is referring the cases to the Liberty Fighters Network. And, I think you should always investigate what you fund, how you do that, see that in action. And I can tell you that I've met with Reyno on the ground many times. He has spoken at some of my meetings, and he's as legitimate as it comes. He's doing actual work. And this is why I've covered those court cases in the past. But I think what's more important is that we cover the other work besides the normal high-profile cases, Reyno, because people do forget often. And Liberty Fighters Network, as a liberators movement or organization, needs continuous funding to do this work. And the people need to help with that. And I support Liberty Fighters Network, and this is why I want people to be able to help and assist. And I'm not saying that other people shouldn't launch court cases or do whatever they want to do, but the work that you have been doing for years now, and the Liberty Fighters Network has been there for a long time, ongoing needs support. And I really want to implore the people on the channel to try and support the Liberty Fighters Network. I've already put the banking details in the discussion twice now. It's also in the description below the video. You will also be able to find it in the first comment below this video. Reyno, I really want to thank you for coming onto the stream with us this morning. Many of the people have already gone out and voted by the looks of it, but I still need to get out there with my family and go and visit many stations today. So it's going to be a busy day for us. So we need to get going. I really want to thank you for joining me this morning. We've been going now for just over an hour. Any last words for the people of South Africa?
Well, if you really want to make a change, you need to go and vote. I'm going to try my best to do the same. Yes, I think I've covered most of the important aspects. And hopefully we'll have a follow-up discussion to discuss the outcome of the voting probably in about 4 or 5 days' time by the weekend. Most probably the final results will be announced either on Saturday or Sunday, comparing to previous elections. And yes, stay well, Godspeed, and thank you for all your support from our side.
Thank you so much for joining us, Reyno. Thank you to all of you that have joined us. Please go to the description below the video. Even if you make a small 5 Rand or 10 Rand donation towards Liberty Fighters Network, it's all appreciated. I will also put an account there for the car fund, the special account that Reyno has created. And we are trying to raise 70,000 Rand for Reyno to have a vehicle that he can use to travel the country. And we need this. I need this. What we are trying to do needs Reyno to keep going and the Liberty Fighters Network to be involved in this fight for system change, as well as creating awareness for the system we find ourselves in, the problems with the legal system, and how we can actually change that, because it is possible. Thank you, Reyno, for telling the people that they should go and vote if they want to actually have a say. I always tell people that voting is the only democratic thing left in the country, because it is the highest court in the country is us making that cross. That's the highest judiciary, is it not?
Yeah, no, definitely. Totally agree with you. And yeah, let's see what the effects are going to be. I don't believe that a lot of people will be coming out to vote because of the scare of this dreadful disease that have been putting us in chains the past year and a half. But hopefully, but I'm positive that the outcome will indicate in which direction we are going. All the best.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. So everyone, please check in the description below the video, as well as in the first comment. You will be able to find the details for Liberty Fighters Network to support the movement, as well as the special fund that was created. We call it the Vehicle Fund, and I put those details out yesterday in my last broadcast, and I'm going to give it to you now again in the comments. And thank you, Reyno, and enjoy the rest of the day, people. So there's the Vehicle Fund account. You'll see it's a separate account, and I will put that in the description below this video as well. If you want to donate to the usual account and you already have it loaded, just say that it is for the vehicle. But Reyno needs a lot of funds to just keep on with the normal work. Thank you so much for joining us, Reyno. Have a wonderful day. Everyone, enjoy the day. Speak to the candidates, speak to the people there. You can approach them. They cannot approach you today. Speak to them, ask them what they are about, and then make your decision. And yes, it's your only democratic right that you have left in this country, because the system is not democratic, is the fact that you can go and make that cross and find a representative that represents you. Remember, this is local government. Don't listen to the scare tactics saying that we have to keep out the ANC or the EFF. All of those things mean absolutely nothing. Thank you so much, Reyno. Have a great day. Goodbye.